Chapter 8. Heartfelt Sorrow. The boycott and ban imposed by the Quraysh worsened and dragged on for 3 years. The Quraysh believed that if they could starve the messenger's followers economically, then the Quraysh could break them spiritually. Food was so scarce that many of the believers had to resort to eating leaves just outside of the city. The followers were suffering dearly, but many held steadfast to their beliefs. The messenger's best friend, Abu Bakr, had been a wealthy man before the boycott, but as it dragged on, he spent all his money for the sake of the sublime, helping the believers who were in hardship. When the caravans would come to the city to sell goods, the followers would arrive to buy basic items. Abu Jahl would show up and manipulate the merchants to raise prices so high that the believers could not afford to purchase anything. The messenger told Abu Talib that he was very distressed by the prolonged Qurayshi boycott. He knew that the leaders of the Quraysh took an oath, agreeing to the ban. He told Abu Talib, "Regarding what they signed, the Sublime has shown me that it has been completely destroyed except for his name." Abu Talib called some of the leaders of the Quraysh and shared what the messenger had told him of the signed parchment which contained their oath. Abu Talib said to the Quraysh, "Why don't you go see for yourselves? And if it is true, then you should believe in him." Upon limited reflection, 5 influential leaders of the Quraysh realized how harsh the boycott had been on the believers and went to meet Abu Lahab in front of the sanctuary. The leaders said to Abu Lahab, "It's time to end this boycott. We are against it. It's wrong. We were not for it in the first place." Abu Lahab and the Qurayshi leaders then started arguing, calling each other liars. To settle the matter, the Quraysh went into the sanctuary structure and pulled out the oath they had signed. To their amazement, insects had eaten everything of the scroll except for the words, "In your name, the Sublime." They took this as an omen. The Quraysh decided to end the boycott and sanctions. When the messenger was 50 years old, his wife, Khadija, died. A darkened sky of mourning gripped the family of the messenger. His spiritual companion of 25 years was now gone, and he was grief-stricken. Shortly thereafter, Abu Talib, the messenger's uncle and childhood guardian, was on his deathbed. The Quraysh visited Abu Talib in this state, urging him to convince the messenger to desist from his efforts. The Quraysh knew that once Abu Talib died, the messenger would be without political protection in their tribal system. The messenger came to Abu Talib. Abu Talib told him what the Quraysh had said. In Abu Talib's final moments, some thought he finally embraced the Sublime and the messenger's faith, while others did not hear him say it. Regardless, it was clear to everyone that during the life of Abu Talib, he had always stood by the messenger. Shortly after the death of Abu Talib, the notorious Abu Lahab became the head of Abu Talib's tribe. This was a difficult development for the messenger to handle, given how much Abu Lahab hated the messenger and all who followed. The messenger was seriously persecuted with this change in tribal leadership. One day, when the messenger was supplicating in prostration to the Sublime, he was surrounded by a Qurayshi group at the sanctuary. One of them threw camel intestines on the back of the messenger. The messenger remained in prostration with the intestines resting on him until his daughter, Fatima, arrived and wiped the filth off. Both Fatima and the messenger were unhappy about what had happened and passionately supplicated to the Sublime out loud while the Quraysh were listening. Most of the people of the city rejected the messenger and insulted him verbally and physically. What incredibly difficult times these were for him. He decided to see if there was any support for his message in Ta'if, a town just 68 miles away. The messenger traveled there by foot, climbing some rough terrain to get there. He eventually arrived at Ta'if, which was cradled among a series of mountain ranges. He approached the leaders of the dominant tribe there, many of whom worshipped stone idols or statues. The messenger described the faith and called them to believe in the Sublime. The leaders of Ta'if knew in advance what the messenger had been teaching in the city. They rejected his message in an incredibly rude manner and used harsh words. Even worse, they sent their people to chase and try to stone the messenger. As he took cover at a local orchard, the messenger was bleeding from these vicious attacks. He sought a moment's rest under the shade of a tree on the corner of a small vineyard and called out to the sublime, "I complain to you my lack of strength, lack of support, and the humiliation I am made to receive, and how insignificant I am to other people. O most merciful of those who have no power, to whom do you leave me? To some distant person who will be like the fire for me, or to some enemy that you give him power over me? If you have no anger toward me, I have no objection. I would, however, be much happier with your mercy. I seek refuge in the light of your countenance, that by it even all of the darkness becomes illuminated, and all of this world and the next world is taken care of. I seek refuge from your wrath descending upon me, or your anger descending upon me. You can censure, and for you is the reproach until you are content. And there is no strength and no power except from you." The owners of the orchard saw the messenger in such an unfortunate state, and ordered their Christian servant to bring a plate of grapes to him. The messenger accepted the grapes, and before eating them he said, "In the name of the sublime, the most gracious, most merciful," as was the practice in his faith. The servant was surprised to hear this and said, "This is something no one in this area says." The messenger asked about the servant's faith and homeland, to which the servant answered. The messenger responded, "Then you come from the same place as the noble Jonah." The servant said, "How did you know about Jonah?" The messenger said, "Just as I am a messenger, Jonah was a messenger, and all the sublime's messengers are brothers." The servant kissed the messenger's head, hands, and feet. After the messenger left Taif, but before he was able to re-enter the city, he raised his head to the sky and saw a cloud which had cast its shadow on him. The messenger looked, and there was angel Gabriel, who called out and said, "The sublime, the honored and glorious one, has heard what your people have said to you, and how they have reacted to your call. And he has sent to you the angel in charge of the mountains, so that you may order him what you wish with regard to them." The angel in charge of the mountains called out to the messenger, greeted him, and said, "O messenger, the sublime has listened to what your people have said to you. I am the angel in charge of the mountains, and your master has sent me to you so that you may order me what you wish. If you wish that I should bring together the two mountains that stand opposite to each other at the extremities to crush them in between, I would do that." But the messenger said to him, "I rather hope that the sublime will produce from their descendants such persons as will worship the sublime, the one, and will not ascribe partners to him." Such was the unparalleled compassion and humanity of the messenger, even in these difficult days.